Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, who's up a little bit too high. Wha! The well-rounded nerd. Had to lower my chair. I sit up high because I'm tall, and one of my lights just fell. Uh-oh. Are we on the struggle bus today? Come on. There we go. I tried to lean it back so it wouldn't be in this shot, but I could still have light, but I think I leaned it too far. The well-rounded nerd. It's my husband's chair. I'm pushing it over here. I'm going to use it as a stand. It's a work in progress Wednesday. I'm finishing some Christmas presents today. I do have army stuff I want to finish painting, but I want to get my holiday Christmas party, Dirty Santa. I think some places call them White Elephant. I want to get that done. And then I'm going to go walk the dog. It is a cold, cold Tuesday night. Oh my God, like it rained all last night, and I thought about doing this live. I was like, I'll put it up for work in progress Wednesday. But I wanted to show y'all what I'm working on right before I finish it because I'm going to do a short when it's completed sometime this week. But I think I might be able to get this done tonight. You're going to hear my dog in a second. Sammy would like the floor. Hookums, you want the floor? You hear him sniffing? No, don't touch that. I wanted to rip up some paint soaked paper towel. I'm going to take you out in a minute. It is cold. For those of you who do not live in the Fahrenheit land of the United States, what is 30 degrees? It's like 9. In the Celsius, it's cold. What's funny is when we went to Iceland, people kept saying, how cold was it in Iceland? Iceland was warmer. Apparently, they have because so much of where people live is close to sea level or even a little bit below, the temperature stays pretty even. And plus, there's a volcano under the whole island. Volcanoes. I was like, oh, like it gets cold. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the way we think it is. And it's not like Yakutia where the whole city's built on permafrost. This is part of the gift package for my contest winner. I love the dragon so much. I'm just going to do a little more. I'm leaving the body the way it is, but the face, I'm going to do like some red on the horns and on the claws. I'm going to set that over here. But the first thing I want to just do a little touch up on is this Lord of the Rings chess set. So let me back up because I rambled there for a second because of Pookum's barking. Um, I'm doing a Lord of the Rings chess set for one of the holiday parties I'm going to. So I think some places call these White Elephant. We call them Dirty Santa, but it's basically where everybody brings a gift. They say what the dollar amount is supposed to be. Um, and then what happens is a person opens a gift. And then they decide the first person has to keep their gift. And then the second person gets to go either I want that gift or I'm going to open a gift, and so on. And each gift can exchange hands or be stolen like up to 3 times, at least the way we do it, up to 3 times. And the third person to get it gets to keep it. And last year when I went to these parties, we brought gifts and the dollar amount limit was $25. But in the Society for Creative Anachronism, everybody makes stuff. And it was my first year in the SCA. I didn't know about any of that. And I walked away with a handmade bench. Somebody got a hairpin from me, which is fun. It's a nice brass hairpin. But this year I decided to make stuff. So one of the parties is for our province that we are a part of. We are part of the province of Glenry. So there'll be the province party, and then there's also our household party. For the household party, that will be this, which I think is going to be one of the best things I've ever made. I'm actually going to take the pieces off, but this is a Lord of the Rings themed chess set. I paid $5 for the STL. That's Gandalf. He's the king. The pieces are finished, but they have to be shellacked. That's Galadriel. I know, right? Um, this is Legolas. Part of his bow broke on this one, but I think it'll be okay. Because honestly, it's so fragile, it's going to break again on whoever gets it. So, yeah. The other Legolas, he's the knight. And then Aragorn. I'm sorry, Legolas is the bishop, Aragorn is the knight. We have Gimli as the castle or rook. I know, doesn't that look great? And then we have Frodo as the pawn. Love it. And then, so I'm going to take these down. because I want to show you this chessboard. I've got just a little bit of highlighting I'm doing on the chessboard. On the other side, we have Sauron as the king. And what I did with these, and this is my husband's suggestion, I've learned some new skills in doing this because I've never been good at dry brushing. These are primed in black and then dry brushed in gold and silver. Metallic show up really good on black. Um, the queen, which is so funny, is actually the Witch King of Agma. I love that. And then our knights are ring wraiths, 2 ring wraiths. The castle or rook is a urkai. These are no mere. um, what are they called? Not goblins, the other ones. Where is my brain? When elves fall, they become. Help me. I have forgotten a key piece of lore to Lord of the Rings. Not the goblins, the other ones. Orcs. Yeah, these are no mere orcs. These are urkai. The bishops on this side are Saruman. Sauron and Saruman. Isn't that great? Um, and then we have just straight up orcs as the pawns. So that's the set. And so what I did for the inspiration for this was take these down. Was this chess the chess set came with the board in the STL. This, including the pieces except the pawns, were all printed on my bamboos. So this one was printed on my husband's P2S, and then these, all of the player pieces except the pawns, this was printed on my Bamboo A1 Mini. Did you know PLA printers could get this kind? I didn't. I took a risk printing these. And they came out beautifully. Um, and then my Bamboo A1 is finally fixed. I'll tell you the story about that later, but I finally got it fixed. I was so close to doing it myself. But the STL that I purchased came with the chessboard, but I didn't just want it to be a plain chessboard, so I've been detailing it. So it's like Mordor and the Shire for the checks. The gold filigree, I've sprayed this really beautiful green in here, but as you can see, it looks like it's on a rocky outcrop. So I've kind of, gone around and greenified it, but there's a little bit more that I want to do just for highlighting's sake. Some of this gold isn't quite perfect and it's making me mad. So I'm going to go through with my Gehenna Gold, which is right here, and touch that up real quick just to make sure it's as good as it can be. Is my shaker plugged in? The shaker lives on the floor now in between our desk. But I just want to touch that up, and then I'm going to do a little highlighting on the mountainous regions, and this will be done. And I'm going to show you the other thing that I am working on. But this is just a nice hobby with me. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've had an interesting start to the holiday season. We had Thanksgiving last week. Um, and honestly, with my family, I had a really nice little bit of Thanksgiving. Um, all the kids were here. My in-laws came over. I got to cook for everyone. It was good. It was good. But I unfortunately did have a family member pass the day before Thanksgiving. One of my father's brothers, which would be my uncle, but that's the side of the family, and he was a really good man. He really was. After my father passed when I was 23, he kind of wow, that was 20 years ago. But he kind of took up the mantle of father figure in my life. He was just a very positive man. He was also a preacher, a very hard worker, and on that side of the family, he has the only other female child. Me and my one girl cousin on my dad's side of the family. We and we're both the same age. They have their daughters in the same year. She's 3 months older than me, and she will tell you that 3 months equals 30 years. And I'll let her have it. But she's a sweet soul as well, and her mom is a wonderful person, and was not a great start to the holidays. But when stuff like that happens, it reminds us, to be even more thankful for the good things we have going on. Um, my family, it seems like every year we keep losing somebody else. That is one of the trials of getting older, is that once you hit a certain age, and let me just warn you out there in TV land, uh, my kids did not know that I had had a death in the family. I don't think they found out until they were about to head back home. um, they're like, "Oh my goodness, did you need to go?" And the services aren't for a little while yet, so I did not miss anything. Um, but with that knowledge, and I said, just enjoy what we have, because these things teach us that we never know when what we have is not going to be a part of what we do anymore. We never know who or when. You never know when the time is up. There's no way to know. It happens when it happens, and the point is, enjoy people while you have them. I don't want this to be a downer video, but I know a lot of times during the holidays people have a lot of sad things they're thinking about. We think about the people we've lost. It seems like a lot of times there are company layoffs at this time of year, and that's never fun to deal with. If you're one of those people who has gotten that kind of news at this time of year, I am so sorry. There's never a good time of year to receive that kind of information, but it's especially tough when you want to buy your kids Christmas presents, or go see the family, or something, or go see friends. And now you have to put those plans on the back burner. It's not fun. But what it does teach me is that I have to find those things that make me happy and be thankful for them and revel in them. And not everybody, has a system to help them cope with things that aren't exactly as you planned. You gotta find that, whether it's therapy, your religion, friends. You gotta find those things to cling to, and this has been really therapeutic for me, at least, um, to have something that I'm really getting into, because this isn't going to be for me. I'm giving this away, but I've poured so much into doing it, and it's really been making me smile. When the daughter was home with her boyfriend for Thanksgiving, she was just, as she was watching me paint and build this during downtime, like she wants one now. And I was like, you know what? I'll print and make her one. She doesn't know I'm going to do it. I don't think she watches my channel. This is how I find out if she watches my channel. But I think I'm going to print one for her and make her one, because why not? Why wouldn't I? Doesn't hurt me to make another one. In fact, it will help me improve my skills even more. And it makes me happy that it made her that happy, that she would want it, or want one, you know. And I'm pretty sure that when I am able to give this in the white elephant or dirty sand game, or something in my eyeball, sorry, that it's going to make somebody happy, that they're going to enjoy it. And that is the goal. We want people to have enjoyment. So if you're having a tough time, if you're getting news that is less than optimal, find find your joy. It's there, I promise. I promise. We all have things that can bring us down at the holiday season. My best friend in the world 4 years ago, at Christmas, passed away during the panorama. Very weird complication. Apparently, the vid had this complication where it could develop blood clots, and it was a rare one. But she didn't have the best health. But let me tell you, she was a fighter. She was such a good person. She was one of those people that's like, man, if she can do it, I've got no excuse. Like, she was born with the type 1 diabetes, and she was also born with MS. I can talk about her because she's not here anymore. Um, but she didn't let any of those things she was born with stop her. Um, she had to take the insulin injections every single day. And the MS, she had to go get an infusion every month, to help with her MS symptoms. And she'd have days where she'd be in a lot of pain. But she had work to do. She had a daughter who was grown and a grandson, and she wanted to help give them the best life that she could. So what she did for work is she took herself and went to culinary school and became a personal chef. So she got a culinary certificate, and you know we ended up being so stinking close that sometimes I would go with her on her events and work as her sous chef. Which I was a decent cook before I met her, but after we became friends, I became an amazing cook. She taught me everything she knew. So I find great joy in cooking for people, and a lot of the skills I have in cooking for people um, come from the time that I spent with her. But when she went into the hospital, um, some unfortunate things happened. Initially, she wasn't quite getting the care she needed, and she ended up having to go to another hospital. But by the time she made it to the second hospital, it was too late. And one of those blood clots she developed that actually nobody knew were happening. They didn't know it had happened until it happened. It broke free and went to her brain, and that was it. Apparently, she was born. They found out when they did the examination afterwards. She was born with a hole in her heart, um, which I think they knew the hole was there, but they didn't know exactly why that blood clot was able to travel so far and fast until they did the autopsy, and it broke free and went straight through her heart to her brain, and that was it. Um, and that was not the best holiday. It wasn't the best Christmas, like at all. Um, but rather than be sad that she's not here, which is a natural emotion, I'm not going to tell anyone to not be sad. I have to think about all the good times we had together. The way that we met was at a church long time ago, and we were both going to the same church, and I was doing a lot at that church. I was very involved in activities, and I was in my early 20s, so I was really big into like single stuff and all that because I wasn't married. I had none of those people at that church had ever met my first husband. I was already long divorced. um Long divorced. I got married at 18 and divorced at 23. Long divorce. So I was like 25 at the time when we met a couple of years later, and 25, 26, somewhere in there. And she had wanted to do a singles event. And for some reason, he decided to tell her, well, go find, oh, what's her face? Go find old Miss Otaku, and she'll help you out. And I was like, really? I don't have keys to the building. But sure. Um, and what's funny is when we first met, we were both very strong personalitied women. And when we first met each other, we did not like each other, like at all. I called her everything but a child of God because when we started working together, our personalities just clashed. And I think what it was is we were both kind of fighting for control because we were both type A driver personalities who are used to getting our way. and I didn't like her at first, and a friend we had in common, I would talk so foul about her. But then just over time, walls came down, and we both realized that we were single women doing our best. She's about 10 years older than me, which is why she had a daughter and grandson. She was a little bit older than me. And I swear up and down, we might actually have been blood related. Um, but her family and my family ended up being really close. Um, my mom loved her, her mom loved me. Her mom was a firecracker. Oh my goodness, she was one of the funniest old women. She was one of the old women that if she threatened to shoot you, it wasn't a threat. She was probably gonna do it. Like she told the story of the time she shot some dude, and nothing happened to her. I forget why she did it. I just that's the part of the story I caught. She was one of them old country women. Um, just a beautiful soul. And when she would do her catering events, when she became a personal chef, and I would go with her, she started teaching me a lot of what she knew. And a lot of it just happened because I would be her sous chef. I'm muscular, so a lot of stuff she couldn't lift and whatnot. That's part of the reason I would go with her was I could pick up all the heavy stuff and move it. Like we did this one women's retreat in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, where we had this like huge suites with multiple rooms and like one of those like resort villa kind of things. I don't even know what they're called because it's such a unique way to vacation, like a timeshare kind of thing. It's not a hotel room. You got to leave it clean and stuff. But not that you should mess up your hotel room. That's all I'm saying. um, not it was not an Airbnb. These are building blocks that have like tons and tons. The gold is coming out nicely. Um, Tons and tons of rooms. Like there'll be a central living room, kitchen, dining area, like 5 and 6 bedrooms. It's almost like a college dorm situation, but for vacations. And there's dishes and stuff. And we went up there to provide the food for a women's retreat. We were cooking for 20 people, 3 meals a day for like 4 days. We worked. But you know what? I found out how hard I could work. I sure did. I found out what I was made of on that week, and there were other friends of hers, a couple of them that were on that trip as well, who came to provide, different services for the women's retreat, and I got to know them. I met a lot of other friends through her. And the people I'm still friends with today, absolutely lovely people. I'm going to see them on my birthday weekend because every year on my birthday now, it's kind of a tradition. I was part of a foodie group when I lived in Nashville. So we will go back up to Nashville, spend a couple of days. Going to go to the Holiday Brass Spectacular with the Nashville Symphony. If you have never been to a Holiday Brass concert, you need to go. I'm going to visit friends and the foodie group that I was a part of, which some of those mutual friends are also a part of. It's not really a birthday party. We just use my birthday as an excuse, but I get together with my Nashville foodies, and I bring them all a gift for the holidays. It's just a tradition. I like having people to buy gifts for. I like having people to celebrate life with, and there are a lot of people in my life that I've met because I knew her. It's kind of like the ending of Wicked, which spoiler for a musical that's been out for 20 years. I've read the book. I read that book. Don't read that book. If you have not read that book, don't read that book. Look, Gregory Maguire, you're a fantastic writer, but oh my god. That book and musical ain't got nothing to do with each other. Both are good. They have okay, that's all I'm saying. But it's one of those things where it's like, because I knew you, I've been changed for good. That's what you got to think about. I miss my friend. I do. She was a really good person. I'm going to go visit her daughter and grandson over the holidays, bring them some Christmas presents because they moved back to their home city after she passed. They left Nashville to go live where more their bio family is, which of course they should. Why wouldn't they? But I'm going to make a point to go see them. I had people to go see because I knew her. I'm able to cook a large meal for a lot of people and not spend a ton of money because I knew her. It's those are the things you got to cling to if you have holiday doldrums. And seasonal depression is a real thing, y'all. Like it gets dark outside, so I don't know where everyone is who watches my channel, but there's a couple of we live in an area that does the time change every year. And there's a lot, I've heard so many reasons why we change time, why we don't. But basically, in the fall, we lose an hour of daylight every year. And then when the spring comes, we spring forward and we gain it back. But then slowly, as the summer wanes on and we get into fall, it gets darker and darker, earlier and earlier, and then we fall back again. And we do that every year, every 6 months. The time changes, and there is something called um, as soon as I'm done with this, you're next. You so spoiled. You spoiled. He's so rotten. Can y'all hear him whine? Him go lay down. Him go lay down. If you don't talk to your animal like a baby, I don't trust you. um, but because of that, if you live in an area that does the time change, not everywhere does. Like Arizona in America doesn't do the time change. And it can mess up meetings if you are meeting with somebody who is in Arizona and they're clear they didn't change what everybody else's did anyway. There's a thing called seasonal depression. I've actually known people who have moved from here to further east and further south because there is more daylight longer later in the year, and their mood can be so thoroughly affected by the change in season. Like it's a real thing. I've had several friends actually move to Florida to escape seasonal depression. You do what you got to do, okay? For those of you who are not in America, we this is a big country. It's huge. And granted, I've traveled quite extensively, and I've got more travels to do in my life. Um, but this is a big country, so you can literally move away from what makes you sad. That's how big this country is. Um, but that can make the holidays harder on some people. Is if you have the seasonal doldrums, on top of, there being loss. I was talking to a friend, and, he doesn't really do much at the holidays or put much stock in holidays, birthdays, or anything because he's experienced so much loss. That's how he's coping. Can't judge that. We all cope in the way that works best for us. And I wanted so bad to just put my arms around him and say it's okay. You don't have to retreat from life. Life is hard. It's not always going to be sunshine and roses. And there's not a single person who hasn't experienced great loss and sorrow. None of us. We've all experienced it. Um, I go to counseling once a week, which you should do. Who's the therapist? But one thing I was talking to him about was like, I don't understand people who get into the trauma Olympics. They're like, whose trauma is worse? It's all bad. Okay, it's all bad. I don't care what you see on the surface with a person. Everyone has a story. Everyone has gone through things. People have stories you don't know about. Like I know somebody who kind of has a vendetta against people who they perceive to have been born in circumstances that were too fortunate, so they must make them suffer. You don't know what somebody's childhood was like. You don't know what they've had to lose. You weren't there for their story. All you see is what's in front of you right now. We are all the sum of the stories that make up us, of the things that we've done and the things that happened to us that we had no control over. And we need to give everybody the respect of recognizing they got a story. And their story is just as important for them as my story is for me. And when I think about my story and I think about all the people I've known, the places I've gone, the food I've eaten, overall, I'm glad I've got this life. It's the only life I'm getting. I'm not getting another life. So I better do what I can to enjoy it and make the most of the time that's given to me. Because you never know what your day is. When my uncle passed, it was very unexpected. Um, and actually, the week before, my husband and one of his friends had to go to a funeral of another friend, and they apparently passed in the same fashion. Um, I brightened up the gold. What do you think? I love it. So I'm going to do a little touch up on the rocks and then set this to the side to dry, and I'll show you the next thing I'm working on. Um, but he, both of them just apparently what happened is their hearts stopped, just stopped. The one gentleman went to sleep. That I did not know him, but what's interesting is that he's in the SCA, and he was much loved by people. But I have his shield. It's a kite shield. You've seen it in pictures. And it's a hand-me-down. You can tell it's a hand-me-down. But there's like a lion griffin on the top, and then there's another symbol. No, I'm sorry. There's a fist on top, and then there's like a lion griffin. That's because that gentleman gave that shield to someone else who gave it to my husband, who gave it to me. So I've got this great man's shield that I personally never met. But while we were a couple of days before we went to Castle Wars, that gentleman, his wife woke up next to him. Oops, knocked my desk, and his heart had stopped in the middle of the night, and that was it. He was gone. No one knows. And apparently, that's what happened to my uncle as well. He went to sleep, and then he woke up, and well, no, he didn't wake up. No, my uncle didn't go to sleep. My uncle had gone to work, from what I understand, and he went um, across the street from where he works, like he does every day, to go to the gas station to get like a little sandwich or something for his lunch, and He sat down and he didn't get up. His heart just stopped. And that's not fun. That's not a fun story. Doesn't feel good to talk about it. But you know what does feel good? To tell you about my uncle who, when my father passed away, wanted to make sure that I still got the experience of having a loving father because I was 23 when my father passed. So I was still relatively young. I was still at a stage in my life. I'm using a red earth here to do some highlighting on the mountains and stuff. Um, I was still relatively young when my dad passed. And, I was still at an age where I needed my parents. I went through a phase of being kind of jealous of people who had the experiences of their parents older in life, and I did not. Because my mother became disabled not long after my dad passed, and I became her caretaker. So I essentially became her parent not long after he passed. So a lot of those years where you'd be leaning on your parents to help you get um, into adulthood and shape things and help you buy a car and all that, I didn't get that. I had to fight for myself. But my parents were both fighters, and I inherited that from them. But this uncle, who was my dad's second brother, my dad was the oldest. Then there was another uncle, then this one, and then there's one more uncle, four boys, one girl. Um, he took it seriously that I knew that I still had fatherly love in my life. He didn't have to do that. It wasn't his responsibility, if I may say. He has his own son and daughter, but he knew that that would be a gap in my life, and he stepped up. He stepped up that if I needed that encouragement that only a dad can provide, to give that to me. His daughter and I are the only girl cousins on that side of the family. And because of that, we have a closeness that doesn't even require us to talk all the time. If we talk, it's that kind of thing where if we talk, it's like no time has passed. You got a friend like that? I got one friend like that. Like you can go 5 years without talking, and all of a sudden it's like, ha, no time. No time passed at all. And she was there when my both of my parents passed, and now I am hoping to provide some kind of comfort um, as she walks through this. But I am thankful to her that, in some respects, she shared her dad with me. He would always send me encouraging messages. If any of you are on my social media, you may have seen somebody that every time I posted a picture, um, who would always say, "Beautiful, gorgeous," a picture of black excellence. That was him. That was him. I'm going to miss seeing those messages, but he's taught me that I need to be encouraging. Everybody doesn't have someone to encourage them, and I can't encourage the whole world, but that's part of the reason I put up nice positive messages. That was his influence. That there's so much going on in the world that you gotta encourage people once in a while. Just that little bit of red, so check it out. So there's where I put a little bit of the red. There's none on this side, but I've got it on this side. It's just that small highlight. That's the last thing I'm doing to this, and I'm just gonna let it dry, and then everything will get shellacked on probably Thursday this week uh, after I'm done working for the day. But he was a very positive person. He was a very spiritual person. Um, him and his wife, he's the one related to my blood. My aunt is related, of course, to me by marriage, but her and my mother were best friends growing up, from what I understand. And with my mother, we briefly tried to see if she could live near family a few years ago when I was moving and getting married. It didn't work out, but he and her made sure my mom was okay. They kept me up to date on everything that was happening. And when it was time for me to move my mom back with me, I mean, she was only gone from me for like 5 or 6 months. It wasn't very long. We tried, um, but it just wasn't going to be possible. Um, they lived near her and they helped look after her for me. And they knew I was trying to be married and have a little bit of a life break because it had been a decade where I've been taking care of mom on my own. They knew that I just wanted to enjoy being married and getting to know my husband, and they gave me that. I want to be that kind of good person. Uh, they were there for me when my mom passed. They said, handle things in the way that works for you. because she had been through the process of taking care of her own mother. So she knew exactly what I had been through. Don't just think about, hey, these people I love are gone, or friendships I had are gone. Think about how good they were. Think about what you did do that was great. And even if something didn't end the way you wanted it to, what were the good memories associated with it? I'm not going to get too deep into this next story. It's done. That little bit of highlighting. I can't wait to do a short with this. Now I'm going to work on the Neftoffel set. Oop, this is the runs. And show you what I'm going to do on that. I got a little dry brushing to do. Um, but sometimes all you gain is experience. And we have to cling to those good experiences and be thankful that we got the experience, that we got the chance to do the thing and know the people. And, one of the things that's been a huge part of my life for a long time, and I debated talking about this out loud, but it doesn't hurt anything for me to. I'm no longer part of my mission group for various reasons. None of them by my choice, honestly. Um, but that's no longer a part of my life. And I didn't choose for it to not be part of my life. I'll leave it at that. And when I was talking with my counselor today, um, he said, when you lose something you didn't plan to, it hurts because that was your family. 26 years of my life with the same school and 15 years that the mission organization has been around. And to lose that is what death is. That's what grief is. It's losing something suddenly that you didn't have a choice to lose. And not gonna lie, not being part of that group anymore kind of hurts. No, kind of does hurt. But man, I've got some good memories of the young people I've met who have taught me so much. I've got good memories of sitting in the back of hot vans driving through the middle of nowhere, Chiapas, Mexico, on our way to somewhere that I could not tell you on a map where it was, to work with some children. I have good memories of meeting new people, of hugging kids. It's good memories. Even though it didn't end up the way I wanted it to, it's still a very precious part of my life. And those memories aren't negated because it didn't end the way I wanted it to. It was still a good experience. So this is a Neftoffel set. Neftoffel is like an old version of what we call chess. The other one is a real chess set. But this one's really cool. So this again is 3D printed, and it's a 3D print that I purchased. This one was like $3.99, so I've kept to the $25. And I already had the paints and stuff. Um, but the goal is, so it's a set of 12 verse 24. The 12 guard this little guy. This is the king. And the king will be surrounded. Actually, what was crazy is the print came with this little tray to keep them all in. So I'm going to dump them out because I'm going to highlight them. That's why I'm getting them out right now. But he will be surrounded by 12 of these guys. And then on the outside, there will be 24 of the opposing force. And the goal is to get the king. These guys are protecting the king. These guys are after the king. And then the king can either get to one of these corners and be safe, or these guys can take out these guys and be safe. And they can only move in straight lines, but there's like rules on like how the lines move. That's why this grid has to be so precise. But I'm going to do to these. Yeah, oh, he the baby. He just went out. He just wants attention. You just squeech him. Mommy squeechums. You the pookums. I'm almost done. It's going to be your turn in a minute. I'm going to walk you, and it's 30 degrees outside. So I tried to make the board look as distinct as possible. That is Norse on the side. Is it Norse or Icelandic? I don't know, actually, because I don't know those languages. Him, go lay down. We're going out in a minute. I'm going to have to put his coat on him, too. It's so cold. He's just going to have to sit there and whine. He's fine. He's just being extra. But I picked this one out because it's a good portable size and it'd be a good one to take to events. And I love this. Come on. I just pulled it out. I don't know why it doesn't want to go back in. Embarrass me in front of the company. There we go. It's got a nice drawer. So this is completely airbrushed. Excuse me, Pookums. Can I open this? Thank you. Where'd it go? Oh, it's over here. The chess set did not come with a case. After I do this, I'm going to have to go ahead and take him out, and then I'll record my next video because I'm going to paint some more. But I printed out a box for these pieces to go in. So, Sam, go lay down. Go on. Go lay down. Go lay down. Good boy. He needs all the attention all the time. He's about to go on this 2-mile walk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this. I'm going to make the outside of the box gold. But what I'm going to do is flock the inside of this to lay the pieces down like they're in the Shire. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But it actually fits these perfectly. It's going to be so cute. But that'll be the last thing I do in this video is airbrush this and finish. Actually, I might do that in the next video I film because my dog is not happy right now. And his unhappiness is my unhappiness. I need a soft dry brush. So what I'm going to do is give all of these a dry brush in silver. And that'll be it. And I'll wrap this video up. I'll airbrush that in the next video, or I'll do it off camera because airbrushing a box is not that exciting. But if I don't take this dog on his 2 miles in the cold, I have to switch pants too. I'm wearing Sam. Go lay down. Come here. He literally just went out and he's eaten. He's had everything he needs. You just want tensions. You just need attentions. I'm doing something other than hang out with him and he's mad. He's a good boy. But I need both my hands, Pookums. I need both my hands. Where is... I had that iron breaker layer out, and that's what I was dry. There it is. Iron breaker. Is this iron breaker? Yeah, iron breaker layer. So I'm gonna give a light dry brush to each of these, and that'll be it. And that set will be finished. That's what I did with these. These aren't even base coated. They're just primed in dry brush, but they were primed in black. These are a little shinier because they were primed in black ink. The pawns I primed in monument black, so the ink gives a nice little shine. With these little guys, we're going to dry brush in the silver, just like I did with these, and that'll be it. That's one thing that my husband suggested. He was like, instead of going full detail paint, because that's all I was going to do, I was going to hand paint each of these to look like the figures. But then we thought about the continuity of the set, you know, so that like when you're playing, can you actually tell like what side is which? And if they're not all the same color palette, it would be really difficult. And I'm not talented enough to make them all look unique and get them in the same color palette. I don't have that kind of skill yet. I may one day, but that's not today. So the dry brushing was his suggestion. So I learned how to dry brush doing this, which is great. So here's my iron breaker layer. And where's my palette? There it is. I'm just going to give each of these a little dusting, and that'll be it. I printed my palette too. I love my 3D printer. I love using them. I'm using a very soft brush for this. I may have found the perfect painting and talking angle finally. I know, you're suffering. Tell mommy how you suffer. I'm going to try this on one of these first before I do it on the king. I'm still stippling a little bit. Still too much. Still too much. I might need a softer brush. There we go. And I'm only doing it where there's like raised portions. He knows it's time for his walk, so he's not going to give me any peace. I wonder if the time change affects animals because it's not as late as he thinks it is. It's only like 6 p.m. But I wonder if for him he thinks it's like 8 o'clock because we usually go a little bit later. So that's it, dry brushed. Now that I've done it, I don't like it. He printed me some extra pieces and he said try dry brushing one to see if you like it. I don't like it. I think I like them just less shiny. I think they're fine shiny. Yep, I lied. I'm not going to dry brush those. I'm going to respray this one in the copper. I'm glad I didn't start with the king. That would have made me mad. So I'm going to fix this one and put these back in the thing because I don't like that. And plus now I can go walk my dog sooner because he is having a whole attitude. But the last things I need to do for this are that box for the chess pieces. And the Neftoffel set and the chess set. I need to shellac all the pieces. When I say shellac, varnish them because they're meant to be played. So things are going to be moved around. Oil in your fingers. You need to make sure you care for that, and that is what shellacking is for. And now I can take my whiny dog out. I'm gonna have to go change into my REI all-weather pants because it is cold. I am so glad I did one. Husband always has such good ideas. So here's the one that I just did. And see, it took something away from it. Just shiny. We want it just shiny. Yeah. So I'll just shiny this one back up. This will be the last thing I do. Next time you see this set will be in the short where I've got both sets completely done, varnished, and show them off a little bit. So I'm going to walk the dog and then come back and film a video painting some Warhammer. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.